What is up, everybody? My name is Bobby. I do music, and today we are taking a look at the Horizon Devices Precision Drive. This is not a new pedal by any stretch. In fact, in my journey as a guitar player and tone seeker and studio rat, home studio rat, when I finally decided to get away from modelers, personal thing, nothing against them, just a workflow thing for me. I think they sound great. But I wanted to get away from modelers and get more into analog tubes and transistors and diodes and that sort of thing, and kind of build my own little, smorgasbord of tones as if it were a modeler, but I wanted it all analog and all physical pedals and dials and switches and knobs and all that stuff. And the Precision Drive was actually the first pedal I bought. Not the very first. When I was a teenager, I think I picked up like an OD3 or a Super Overdrive. I forget what it was. Some Boss pedal from the one local music store I had. And I didn't understand it. And I wish I still had it because I feel like I have a better grasp on pedals and tone now versus when I was like 16 or 17. But yeah, so the Precision Drive was the first one I bought because I wanted heavy tones and a boost. Because that was a lot of what I was playing back then, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, I think, when I bought this thing. And I wanted something to boost into heavy channels and get that crunchy, palm-muted thing. I'm not a big, djenty, proggy player. I enjoy that music, but I can't really do that sort of thing. I'm more in the, for heavy music, the John Petrucci and James Hetfield and Devin Townsend school of just crushing sort of thing. I'm not going to be super technical, but I still think even if you're not a gent player, this is a great pedal if you're just into heavy music at all. So it's Misha Mansour from Peripheries company, Horizon Devices. This was, I believe, the first pedal they put out, and they've got a whole bunch of other stuff that I don't have, but I would love to check out at some point. But this was their boost drive, and let's walk through it. So signal chain really quick. This is my Ibanez S7327 string in B standard tuning, just B-E-A-D-G-B-E. I've got DiMarzio, Crunch Lab, and Liquifier, the old John Petrucci signature pickups, and I think they sound great. We're going into the Precision Drive, into my Synergy system, which right now I've got the SLO, Soldano SLO2 in there, which without the pedal sounds like this. I've got a video on that back over here, but I've got it in the overdrive mode, the higher gain mode, and the tight switches out, so we are as loose as can be to demonstrate the efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency? No, just effectiveness. Efficacy? How good this pedal is for this sort of thing. I've also got the Friedman BE-BB in here for a very clean channel, which will just give us a picture of what specifically the drive portion of this pedal is doing. But we're going to stick mostly to the Soldano. And I do have a video on the BE-BB up here as well. So, Precision Drive. We've got a few different controls on here. It's got a built-in gate. All the way clockwise or counterclockwise is slow and loose, and all the way clockwise is very tight and aggressive. And then we've got, of course, drive. We've got bright, the volume, and then the attack, which is actually a 6 position rotary that rolls out the low end before it gets boosted into your amp, so you can control how tight or how thick your tones are. And we will definitely be going through that. The way I tend to run this is pretty much exactly what you see. Volume just past noon, which according to the manual is about as loud as a tube screamer gets. But we can go louder. I tend to like it about that loud. Brightness is going to, bring in more attack, more zing, more attack. No, that's what the attack knob is for. But more articulation, more definition, and more of that zing. And then drive is its own overdrive circuit, and then attack we've got to control the low end. So what we're going to do is, this is how I usually have it set up. If I start palm chugging some low E or low B, The SLO isn't the loosest one I've got, but it's flubby enough that if you were doing heavier, tighter, more technical stuff like thrashy sort of thing, and you just want some more aggression out of it, we get more aggression. I always refer to this when I've got other people in here and we're building guitar tones. They'll go, what's that one? And I say, well, it's the Angry Maker because it takes you from this to this. You just got to make that face. So let's go over the controls and we'll start. I'll actually start with the attack rotary. And I'm going to lower the gain on the SLO just a little bit, but we still have plenty of saturation on there. So with the attack in the leftmost position, and again, it's a rotary, not a continuous knob, but sixth position. First position is going to let in the most low end as we boost the signal. So it's going to keep it kind of thick, and I'll demonstrate that now. So palm muting some E with the pedal off. Pedal on. If we go up one position, it feels like pretty neutral as far as a boost, kind of similar to a Tube Screamer. It's not an extreme roll-off. Next position up is generally where I keep it for your kind of Metallica Dream Theater sort of thing. Now we've kind of got that gank sort of sound, that metallic, string noisy, very tight palm muted. Sometimes I describe this pedal as basically turning any high gain amp into a Mesa Mark series, where you roll the bass all the way off, and it's all that Metallica kind of Master of Puppets to Black album era sort of thing. Even a little bit of that Meshuggah bleed sort of thing. One more position up. We're in position 4 now. Now we're getting super tight into that more modern progressive sort of thing. We've got 2 more positions. Now, because we're rolling off low end, we're also losing a little bit of perceived saturation, so I'm going to put the gain on the Soldano back up a little bit. And again, we're losing low end and rolling it off and keeping it tight and very percussive and just less flubby and loose and imprecise, basically. Apt name. So sixth and final position, to my ear, it's almost like, if you're familiar with the band Monuments, they've got a really stringy, tight sound with like a lot of low end rolled off going into whatever amplifier they're using. roll it back down so you can hear where we started from. So plenty of control there. Like I said, I tend to leave it in the third position. So where I still have a little bit of thickness, but it's controlled and I can riff, and especially if I'm double tracking heavy rhythms, it's great for that sort of thing. The other thing is with the gain rolled up, as you notice, or rather the attack rolled up, I can get away with higher gain on the amplifier and saturate it even more. So I'm actually going to drive the SLO's gain up to about 3 o'clock. I don't think anyone would say that's a tight sound, but if we, whoop, and messed up the framing, that's okay. If we kick on the precision drive with the attack all the way up, it's still kind of loose because we're, tons of saturation, but we still have articulation versus without. It just kind of becomes a hashy, flubby mess. So anyway, bringing that back down to about 10 o'clock. And I'll bring it back to position 3 where I tend to like it. And we will talk about the volume. So I'm actually going to bring the slow down to 9 o'clock. Volume all the way down on the pedal. Nothing. Tons of volume on tap. It can almost overpower. I tend to, again, like it just past noon there. That's Misha's recommended setting, I believe, in the manual too. And then we've got bright, which is bright. So all the way down. So it keeps the articulation, but it takes out some of that hashy top end. As we bring it up, though, we get more of that string attack, and it can actually, these strings are kind of old. I've been meaning to change them, but they're kind of gross. But we can kind of combat some of that if you're on an old set of strings and you need more life out of them, and you're in a heavy band or recording context. You just bring the bright switch up, or the knob rather. And you get more attack out of it. So, again, I tend to leave it just past noon, maybe a little bit more open. I have run it just at about like 10 or 11 o'clock for something a little bit more subdued but still tight. That makes it a little bit more focused and kind of gets out of the way of like cymbals, for example, and keeps some of the harshness out. But for more definition, bring it up. And then drive is drive. So we've got some saturation in here. So we get some more saturation out of it, of course. I tend to run the drive either all the way down or just barely cracked open to where you can sort of start to hear the character of it. That way you get a little bit of thickness. I kind of equate it to, if you take a listen to Machine Head's album, The Blackening, very distorted. I think they were playing 5150s and probably tube screamers or something like that to boost into them. And this gives you sort of that sound where it's just a little too saturated and it almost sounds like messy, but in a good way, like it's raw and just angry and pissed off. Just a little bit of drive. Probably drive the amp a little bit more. It's really just a matter of how tight and precise do I want it to be. And if I want it super precise, I'll leave the drive down. Maybe I'll even bump the attack up. And even a little less gain on the amp. So tons of usability on this as a boost into a heavy channel. Really quick, I am going to switch, like I mentioned, to the BEBB channel, the BE channel rather, on the BEBB module. So you can hear the pedal on its own for its merits, what it's actually sounding like. If I go low B note on the neck pickup here and mess with the attack, you'll hear that low end really come in and out. Really cuts a lot of that low end out and tightens things up. And then, of course, the drive circuit, I'll let you hear here. So it's a very tube screamery overdrive. It sounds like it's soft clipping, like there's a little bit of clean signal getting through there with a little bit of that sort of, I don't know, woolly, I guess. I don't know how to describe it, but it sounds very tube screamer to me, in the drive anyway. The rest of it is definitely its own character. I'm going to go back to the SLO and we can talk about the built-in gate, which is I liked it when I first got it, and then I started running a Rev G8 in 4-cable mode, and I've gotten away from using the gate on this. You can't take it out completely. You can only roll it all the way down where it has the least effect. Right now, this entire time, you've heard the G8 in the signal. Let me take it out, and you'll hear some amp hiss. And I will say the Precision Drive will not get rid of amp hiss because it's in front of the amp. It's not in the effects loop. But it does tighten up your playing a little bit. You can see the light coming on. I can see this if you were rolling in to, you know, like a live gig and you just needed a quick and dirty, you know, something to clean up your playing a little bit and you didn't really care about the amp hiss. In a studio setting, I prefer having a 4-cable gate. But let me show you how the gate reacts with it all the way down. You can see it slower to react, and you can hear the, you know, hum and hiss coming through. Versus all the way up. So again, not getting rid of the hiss, but, you know, cleaning up the playing going into your amp a little bit. And I can see where that's helpful, and it was for me for the longest time, even in the middle there. And by the way, that electromagnetic stuff you're hearing, that's just the pickups. I've just got gear to my right, lights, cameras, and it's just messy, so that's why I use the G8. So yeah, that is the Precision Drive. One of my favorite pedals for high gain rhythm playing, whether it's thrashy sort of that sort of thing, crushing sort of, you know, just anything high gain really, and even, you know, kind of staccato. It's my favorite high gain, boosting into high gain amps for tighter, punchier, just stuff. Yeah, guitar words to describe tone are weird. Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking this out. I appreciate it. I hope it was informative for you and you got some ideas, whether it, you know, informed you whether you might want something like this or you might not. So yeah, keep liking and subscribing. I appreciate you guys so much. You helped me grow here on YouTube. Really trying to make a run for it here and try to make this something I can do for, you know, at least, if not full-time, part-time. So appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. Woo! Heavy.